Today I'm going to tell you guys about my worst day ever, and it has a positive outcome, so stay tuned for that. It all started just down the road here. We can't actually get in because there's active logging. I wanted to go to the exact location, but we've kind of found a scene right here that it'll do just fine for us. So it starts off, it was 4 days after my birthday. I remember that because they were having my birthday party that day. It was a Saturday, June 26th, 2022. And I asked Christina to come out with me to work because I thought it would be kind of nice to hang out together and spend some time in the bush. So we come out to here and there's like a bit of a hill and there's a bunch of deadfall on the hill, and the trees are all laying down on this hill and there's stumps poking up. And I went up the hill and I bucked one of the trees off of its stump. And that's kind of a dangerous task. So I was like on high alert at that time. The tree drops down on the ground and whew, I was safe. So I kind of thought I was in the clear after that. So I go to pull the tree down onto the road, and the top of the tree where it's all green, it's across on the other side of the road now. And so I had this thought, I could see it in my rear view mirror, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna cut that off and it's just gonna lie there on the side of the road and be out of the way and I'll be rid of it. So I went over, Christina was watching, she was maybe 100 feet away. And at this point in time, I had made one mistake that I knew about, and I was about to make one more mistake that I didn't foresee. The first mistake was pretty obvious. I was wearing shorts and not my bucking pants. And like, I don't know, no excuses there. You should always be wearing your bucking pants. It was super hot out and I was just being reckless and not being smart. So the second mistake, when I was pulling the tree, I had pulled a big bend into it. And I just didn't see that when I went to go sink my saw into it. So I bring my saw up into the tree and boom, right away, I'm just like hit by the trunk of the tree. It was super loud and it felt like getting hit by a Prius. No, it was more like getting kicked by a horse actually. Yeah, that's more accurate. It was like bam, right in the chest, so hard. And that was all I could think about was like the tree. It was about a foot thick where it hit me, just boom, right in the chest. And I like assessed myself for injuries. I'm standing there for 2 or 3 seconds. And then I had this thought, oh yeah, because my saw wasn't spinning when it hit me. I knew it had hit me in the leg, kind of. It, like my chest kind of pain was subsiding a little and I was like, okay, I'm all right. So my saw was like wham, and it just hit me in the leg. Like I didn't even see it coming. I looked down at my leg and it was wide open, like 6-inch gash, 1/4 inch wide, not like coming open or anything, but there was no blood, luckily. I could see one of my arteries and the bone. It was pretty savage. Christina, I just looked up at her and I was like, babe, we have to go to the hospital. And it had been about 5 seconds since I got hit by the tree, and it was just like time stood still for those 5 seconds. It felt like 5 minutes. Immediately I laid down on the road. Oh, right away Christina's on the phone, 911. They pick up and inform us that there's no ambulances. So we have to start figuring something out. My truck is a 5-speed and she doesn't know how to drive it. So next call we make, Mom.
So all of a sudden the phone rings and I answer it and it's Christina. And she says, something really bad has happened here. Vaughn cut his leg with the chainsaw. And I thought, oh my God. She says, really bad, it's bleeding really bad. And we're trying to get a hold of the ambulance, but nobody's picking up. And I said, I don't even know where you are. Like, where do I go? And she said, oh, go get Bob, I think she said. He'll know roughly where we are. So I was here with my friend Leanne. We went over to your house over there and Bob happened to be there. And I said, Bob, you need to come. We have to go find Vaughn. He cut his leg with the chainsaw and he's bleeding and everything. And we got in the car and we just took off like up north, went so fast.
Mom doesn't know her way out there, so she gets Bob, who'd been working with me, to help her. And he didn't really remember the way out there too, so they got a little lost on the way.
We got to a spot. I was worried about my car. We're on this awful logging road, and I have a Subaru, which is really great, but I'm telling you, it's like really a torturous road. And there were huge holes in the road, and we got to a river, like I don't know, wasn't a river, but it was like a lot of water. I didn't want to drive through it. So I said, Bob, get out and go and walk up that road and see if we're on the right road. And Bob got out and he started walking and he said, yep, this is the right place. So I just parked my car and we ran.
I was laying on the road. Christina was blocking the sun from me, and we'd tied up my leg pretty good and it still wasn't bleeding. It was more troubling for Christina than me, to be honest. I think it took them between an hour and a half and 2 hours until help arrived.
So chewed up and everything, and Christina was panicking. She said they're sending a helicopter, and the ambulance is like not responding, or it's very far out or something. I can't remember how that went, but they're sending a helicopter, and she was on the phone with the helicopter, but it'd been so long on the phone that she had been waiting. So finally she said, we'll just get a ride with his mom, right? So it was awful. I didn't even like to talk about it. So you managed to crawl your way. I drove the car over the river and got there. You crawled your way up and we got into the car. So thank goodness Leanne was there, because she's really good with vehicles. She drives boats and everything. And so she drove your truck, and I drove you. And I felt like, God, the ferry, we had to wait for the ferry. I was so sure that they'd let us get right on, but somehow we didn't get on. We had to wait.
And so Mom shows up with Bob, and we drive out of there. We drive to the hospital, and it's probably another good hour before I end up like seeing someone in the hospital. And so it's been about 3 to 3.5 hours before I actually got help.
We got to the hospital, and it was a whole lot of waiting to get a doctor finally into the emergency room. There was a lot of people in there. It was really a busy time. And Vaughn had eaten his lunch before he got injured, so the doctor finally came and he had a look, and he said that Vaughn needed surgery because it actually cut into the bone, and it wasn't good. It was all ripped up. And they stitched him up and said, you'll have to come back tomorrow, and they sent him home like that.
I remember in the hospital, they were opening my leg up and cleaning it, and I couldn't watch, but I was watching this 5 or 6 year old girl that was over there, and she just was like, oh, and because they didn't close the curtains, and then someone noticed what was happening, and so they did close the curtains eventually, but that poor girl, and Christina saw when they were cleaning it too. She talks about that. I wish I had a picture for you guys, but you probably wouldn't even want to see it. It was savage. So they sewed me up. They wouldn't really do a surgery that day though, because I'd eaten food earlier. And so they brought me in the next day. They opened it up again and cleaned it all out and ground away at the bone and sewed the tendon together and sent me on my way. It was about 10 days now after the injury, and I was getting restless. Now, I'd been working on a lot of rocks lately, and I wanted to build a new workbench. And I was feeling good enough. I was hobbling around. I had my air cast on, and I pulled 2 logs. They were 8-footers by maybe 7 or 8 inches wide on my shoulder from one side of the yard to the other. And I was just I was feeling so great at the time, and I thought my recovery was well on its way, which I didn't know what was about to come. And so I built this awesome workbench, which I used for a year and a half afterwards. Posts and a big piece of beechwood across the top, all brought from one side of the yard across, and me kind of trucking around, and my family's all be careful, you're gonna break the tendon again. And I was no, it's fine. My foot's isolated in this air cast, so I'm good to go. And I built that workbench, and I was out there working away for an hour at a time, but then it would kind of get a little swollen up and sore, so I'd go and take a break and put my foot up for a while. And yeah, I just thought I was doing so good. So it was 17 days after getting the surgery, the day after the injury. So it was day 18, I think. I wasn't really paying attention to it, but there was some pain kind of creeping into my leg. and I was having it raised up and it felt better. And that was for like a day or two. And I went into the hospital for a checkup, and right away they're like, oh my God, you have an infection. We need to get you in right away. That was like the biggest heart-sinking feeling when they said that I had the superbug. That moment, that was the worst day of my life, really. Worse than the injury, for sure. Because I'd already been healing from the injury. And so they cut me open again, cleaned it all out, ground the bone clean, and packed a bunch of pills in there and sewed it up again. They were like time release, kind of like anti-superbug pills. And they were also giving me a daily shot in the hospital in a PICC line, which goes in straight to your heart from right there. And the PICC line stays in, and it was like super inflamed. And my arm was all red and swollen, and it just felt like so terrible. It was like, but I guess that's the way that they have to administer the drugs. Yeah, being in the hospital was really low. Tough times.
How long were you in there?
Only 6 days. They quoted me at 6 weeks, and I guess I annoyed the nurses enough to find my way home. But I had to come back every day for 6 weeks and get the shot. It was terrible. Yeah, so I cut the tendon that lifts your foot and chopped into the bone a bit and a bunch of muscle. But 3 years later, I am 100% totally healed up. And here's the positive twist to the story. I was getting infections through the superbug for 6 months after, maybe. And they would kind of flare up when I was using drugs. And I was mostly sober. I was using drugs about once a month. And just the fear, I just didn't want more infections to happen. That's actually like a good portion of one of the reasons I'm sober today. So 2 years sober, August 10th this year. Never going back.
Love you, brother.
And it's all just a bad series of events that I kind of turned around, and with my family's help, I get to be here healthy today. Feeling like a champ, really.
Nice.
Feel like an idiot for the injury, but it was good to turn it around, I guess.
So what are the lessons?
Always wear your safety equipment, like always. Today you saw me just kind of trucking around in my shorts with no hard hat. We're doing a reenactment. That's why, like, it wouldn't be the same if I was in my safety gear out here. Like, I wouldn't have got hurt. So now with safety gear, I'm wearing my work boots, my bucking pants, maybe some gloves, and a hard hat with a visor, like standard falling equipment. You know, I haven't even used my saw for weeks though. Working at the childcare center and loving it. My back is getting better. Yeah, everything's just peachy, really. Working on the garden a lot. So you guys are gonna see my garden video coming out pretty soon. Is that actually in this video? Are you doing that, Jamie?
Unfortunately, the garden video is not going to be buried at the end of this one, like how we do bonus segments sometimes. And you may even ask, what is the garden video? Well, you're just going to have to wait and find out on the next episode.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Jared, what's this?
Just showed up at my house a week ago.
At your house?
Yeah, just showed up a week ago at my house. Shout out to Bob and Brad for sending us this awesome Q2 Mini. I wanted to show it to you guys. So we're at this little cabin by the lake, and Vaughn, I swear to God, this thing is a game changer.
Is it?
After missions, totally, buddy. Come home all stiff and sore from a long day in the bush, and let me show you. Open it up. It's a nice, sleek little massage gun with a lot of different heads you can use, brother, for all different areas.
But does it actually work?
Feel it, yeah.
Oh, it's got some weight to it.
It does have some weight to it because it's high quality, good quality, and check this out. Comes with all these different little tips. And I'm gonna be throwing on this little condenser tip here. Chuck that in there, buddy.
All right. So I just turn it on like that?
Yeah, just push the button. She'll start shaking at you.
This is like having a little ninja.
Oh yeah, dude, you get those little knots in your shoulders and you just put that right on there.
That just gave me shivers. I'm not even lying.
That's what I'm saying.
I do feel way better.
Bob and Brad, thanks a lot for sending this over, you guys. We're using this all the time.
Jeremy Collins from Jeremy Does Things, a channel where I explore the outdoors so you don't have to. Or, even better, so it inspires you to.